welcome to another edition of XFeed. What's up? My name is the Schiller. Today we have a lot of headlines. A lot of it is around, well, some of it, I shouldn't say a lot because that's disingenuous, but there's a fair amount of commentary around the Doodles token drop as it's the event of the day. And we're looking at a lot of negative headlines as well, some positive spins to put things on. Hopefully you guys have different opinions today because that's kind of the idea that we're doing all these things to give opinions. You tell me when I'm wrong, you can tell me when I'm right, and everything in between, but let's get at it. Open AI, people behind ChatGPT, says he sees a future where AI agents use smart contracts to manage their spending.
You're going to want to give agents the ability to go purchase things on your behalf. Of course you are, it's inevitable. But you also are going to want control, especially in the early days when the technology is relatively new. So you're going to want to be able to say, yes, this agent I want this agent to go buy this thing for me, but I only want it to spend up to $50, and it can only do so if it's buying something at a grocery store. And I don't need to care which one, but that class of things. Now, I'm a crypto nerd. I'm hoping that this is an opportunity for some of the programmability that you get with blockchains and smart contracts. But whether it's that or the traditional route, programmability is going to be really important, and I feel like it's
there we go. We'll kind of see him, but people keep saying, like CZ the other day, saying the crypto and blockchain is going to get merged. We'll see what it's like. And then also, Sylo posted the interview that or a clip from that interview that I had with Ben Jordan, CPO of Featureverse. So here's what he had to say in that clip.
That was really the epiphany for Sylo. Like, if we could apply that, if we could be the solve for that data problem, then now it's not just about an individual's comms, it's actually about data for the metaverse, or the data layer for the metaverse, which is now what Sylo has evolved into. And when you think about data, what we're really talking about here is any and all data that can be associated to anything in the metaverse, whether that be people or whether that be
AI agents
in the metaverse. There needs to be protocol and a network and an agreed way to draw on any kind of data that an experience or user might need. And if you can do that in a way that is decentralized and not reliant on one kind of all-seeing party, then you're solving the walled garden problem for the metaverse, which is really, in essence, what needs to happen for the metaverse to be open. So that was the thinking. That's how the whole story evolved, and that's where we are now. We're the data layer for the open metaverse, and it's a really important part to enable the breaking down of the walled garden piece.
Okay, so obviously we've highlighted Sylo a fair bit here and there, and the question with this is, where does this AI agent world go? Now, Sylo is a part of the AI Institute that the Think Agents have created the standard around it. There's a whole 70 plus different companies that are building on the standards, and we'll see exactly how that opens up. But I think we're going to see a fair few things happen over the next little bit. And on the podcast, if you guys happen to listen to that at all, that I do as well, one of the common discussion points is about the fact that NFTs, we've lost the realm in a way where there's the speculative side, but then the argument of, well, this is supposed to be a technology. And so what happens within the crypto space when everybody kind of ignores the speculation completely, and it goes down to, well, all right, what's just the best tech? What gets the most adoption? And simply go from there. And I think Sylo is going to play a decent role in that. So there's a report here. Shouldn't say report, wrong terminology. Rewind. There is a departure letter from Ben Rose, who's one of the co-CEOs of VV Official. Now, VV is a massive platform within the blockchain space that has some of the biggest IPs and a fairly large community. And so we have their co-CEO who's stepping down, right? And then I noticed this the other day from Panther QB saying last incredible years with Infinity Gods. April was my last month. There's a lot more to that, but they're no longer there. I was trying to do research and finding certain tweets, and I came to it. Thank you, Grok. But Vo There's a theme to this. Stay with me. Many Web3 companies will be closing their doors in the next 3 to 6 months. Revenue is dried up for many, and teams are overspending. Big point. In talking with some founder and VC friends, it's evident that many were not prepared for this level of instability in the market. This will include games, dApps, marketplaces, chains, protocols, and more, and it's already started. Companies that were cautious with spending and differentiated their product suite will come out on top. Okay. And then another one here. Over the last month, more people in Web3 have confided me about leaving the industry more than I've ever seen before. Dark times for sure. So we see so much positivity around things, but you also have to be somewhat of a realist. And so I saw a post a little bit earlier today that was from Miles, and he said, you're about to see some mega announcements from projects across the board. Many projects have been building, but have been holding their ammo for better conditions. Those conditions are here. Keep a close eye. So part of this, right, and this is something we can really spend a lot of time to reflect on if we wanted to, but think when a collection first mints. The hype is probably at its peak then, ignoring the fact of whenever a token came a little bit later, but for argument's sake, let's say that the hype was around the mint. And then for 99% of people, then it goes into building once the mint is successful. They've had funding, they have the community, they've gotten stuff figured out, and they go from there. And then we've seen over the past couple of years where we've questioned daily on the stream. Well, all right, what's going on? These teams have been building forever. Where the hell is the product? Now, with it being Web3, right? Web3, and seeing how everything takes longer, it's harder. There's obviously the benefit of the doubt with that, right? Like we're not trying to trash everything. It's more about a cautious, optimistic plus reality of the situation type deal. But a lot of things that people originally built that were hyped up around their mint, well, we're a couple years down the line from what they originally said, hey, we're going to go build this. And if they went in that direction, and if the market doesn't care about said product, or if the product's potentially bad and they were waiting for the market to get better, well, then you're just kind of screwed. So my thought with that is I agree with this, but think it's also worth pointing out that we are seeing mass reduction in team sizes across the space. And that was the reason why we just had a whole bunch of posts of people leaving and everything to kind of highlight this is happening. People are leaving. It's a really big deal, but it's not talked about enough. So I'm here trying to highlight it. Daily departure letters have been flooding my timeline. Nobody's bragging about large team sizes anymore. Are these announcements that are coming about, the grand excitement because of market timing, or done under the requirement because they can't survive longer without one last hurrah? And that's the sort of situation that it feels like. I'm trying to get excited about things. I really am. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, we got team size massively reduction. We have, in a lot of cases, smaller communities than when they originally started from the mint. And so is it better to go and look at something that's new and exciting? That you think, okay, well, they have fresh capital, or the older people burnt out, or they just kind of running through the races and saying, okay, we'll see what can end up happening. These are the kind of questions that we have to ask, and we're seeing a lot more getting brought up every single day, and we'll highlight some of them as they end up happening. But enough negativity. Let's be a little positive, if you will. And if you guys are enjoying the stream, as per usual, would love for you guys to like it, share it, send it to a friend. Appreciate you for tuning in. OSF. Okay, so we sold out of 223,000 drinks. I'm trying to think of what kind of facility that would take to produce that many drinks in 40 minutes. Imagine you spend months making this catalog of drinks, and then boom, it's sold out. Once again, a grand total of checks notes 0 crypto publications have been written about rec drinks. Of course, we could pay people to write articles about us, but I refuse to do that out of principle. Our grind continues. So there is different pockets of massive success. The drinks, we brought up 9DCC the other day. You know what I'm saying? We saw that the other day, and it was positive news. Yo, Blue, what's going on? Your name is Blue on my thing, and I can barely read that. Holy smokes. Sylo, what you say about Dude launched? Yo, listen, your timing is absolutely impeccable. The Dude token is live and is open around 100 million fully diluted value. So the market cap's at 80 mil. Again, I would argue the medium, you're somebody, is when you're around 75 mil to 100 mil. I feel like that's kind of all right, we're in the space, we're respected. Anything lower than that, yeah, not respected at all. True. So this comes out relatively good. Relatively good. But the timeline absolutely cooks the shit out of it. And what was the reason that they're getting cooked of? Because a bunch of bozos are out on the timeline trying to create all these like insane narratives. Well, if the token comes out at a, $1 billion valuation, and we're like, all right, so Pudgy Penguins is by far the biggest thing within Web3, NFT collection-wise, that has a token. And they hit the bill or whatever, and then they're way lower than that. So there's like no hope in hell for anybody else at that point. And I think that there's like a lot of delusion from that perspective. Now, is Doodle token dead? Is there anything like that? No, that's not what I'm saying whatsoever, but we do have a massive problem of people like just giving out wild ass takes before these token generating events. And maybe things were a little bit different because we had ETH and everything else really move yesterday. But let's talk about it a little bit more because the timeline had a ton of reactions. So Doodle's asked us to pre-register, gives us 24 hours. Sick. We get it done. Meanwhile, people who did not pre-register had access to claim via the website before the airdrop happened. How stupid can you be? I take away anything decent I said about the team. Generational token. So we got some people that are super negative about things. I mean, welcome to Web3. There's always something that goes heinously bad. It just is what it is, right? We had the Meebits situation the other day with their claim. We're having some doodle issues around there. Shink says, it bums me that Doodles has not provided a reason for the floor price to hold strong going into token generating event. The floor will always drop at a token launch. True. But doing so ahead of launch is a miss. All you need to do is provide the next short-term reason for holding like Pudgy's did. Dude. Floor will always drop, but doing so ahead of launch is a mess. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna get to the doopies in just a second. I don't understand what they're saying. They're doing so before the launch is a miss. So I think there was some confusion, and if I'm gonna I'm making an assumption here, so this could be totally wrong. But I saw some individuals talking about that people were selling after they checked their token allocation. But you still needed to hold the NFT until the airdrop actually happened. So I'm going to guess this is what the problem was. Because this was that's last night. That's not this morning. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the thought if they just didn't realize that, or if I'm smarter, or if I'm missing something. T-Doge, what's going on? How are we? But yeah, I mean, I guess my comment would be if I'm supposed to add anything to this is all right, what are the token sinks? We know the token's coming out, but 9 times out of 10, anytime a token is launched, we just straight up haven't seen anything to follow immediately after. So Waka Flocka Flame, the musician, trying to farm followers by using ape follow ape, all while having the ape listed. So I do think that this is sort of funny, but also shows that people just want your attention, your engagement, whatever else. I have it listed for 3.15, which, I mean, to be fair, what exactly is the mutant ape floor is the question, because maybe that's not bad. But if it's listed at floor, all right, maybe that's a little bit of a weird look. Many Doodle holders are reporting they got 2 times the expected allocation. Is this a bug, a scam, or hitting the jackpot? That was one thing that I saw as well, so there's clearly something kind of funky with the token claim itself. I think I got 111 tokens, which I think is about 50 cents. Hell yeah. So I'll have to go and check that out a little bit later. Wait, Doodle's minting a new NFT collection? Is this the next catalyst for Dude? So that would be a cool token sync. Having it only available within the token that was given out, similar to what it was with Other Side when they did that land drop. Oh, the joy. Meet the Doopies. The Doodleverse is populated by strange and wonderful creatures of all sorts. Perhaps the most lovable of this world's denizens are the Doopies. I swear there was a collection that was called the Doopies as well. Back in the day, it was some hippie sort of collection. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Nah, this is another collection before, but I don't think they exist anymore, so Doopies can get replaced, I suppose. In all shapes and sizes, they can be identified by their desire to bond with a real friend and occasionally an insatiable appetite for joy goo. Joy goo! I remember, see, the joy goo thing makes me think of the trailer. Their desire to bond with a real friend. So I'm going to go out on a limb, right? I'm going to go out on a big limb here. Have you guys ever seen Digimon? And there was these characters in this world, and they looked not exactly, but they were essentially like blobs of different colors. Maybe they had like the fin this way, that way, whatever. You could tell maybe one was like a flyer versus nothing, but they were like small. And then they got attached to humans that came into their Digi world. Listen, I'm not saying we can cross-collaborate on some IP and ideas here, but just throwing that one out there. Kagi-Jan with some fire throwing Gala under the bus. Gala spent millions in influencers and events last bull market. Today, Gala doesn't really have a great product, but not many not many are using it, but what they do have is an infinite money glitch. People still trade the coin today, and it's traded more than Ron. That was the worst reading I've ever done in my life. Apologies, but it is something that's weird. I followed Gala for a while. Once they made the notes tradable, I was like, yeah, I'm probably out of this. But it's weird. There's people that have been building for years upon years upon years, and they're still not an experience game, anything that you enjoy. And I think that's what all of this is about. One of my biggest problems, and I had this realization today, okay? So do you remember the hat, the Houston Texans hat that we bought? And I was like, this is great. I'm really enjoying rewatching some of these football games. I enjoyed watching the NFL draft. Why? I don't know. But listen, I was in a good mood. Wanted to go out, buy the hat. I've been watching games. It's great, right? And I enjoy the entertainment value. I very much enjoy the entertainment value. When I say or ask you right now, what do you enjoy about your favorite Web3 IP collection, any sort of that? If you remove the people that you talk to within the community, do you actually like the entertainment that it's provided, right? Now, whether this be a game, right? For anybody that's like a Bored Ape, you can think of back to like Mutants vs. Apes. I remember having a fun time with that. There was Dookie Dash. There was Heavy Metal. Obviously, that ended kind of poorly, but like in the moment, in the first few couple days, I was having the time of my life. If you're over in Futureverse, do you enjoy TTK, Racers, these other gaming experiences that are out there? If you have Doodles, do you enjoy the Doodle Show? If you are a Cool Cat fan, do you enjoy the short versions of Cool Cats? If you're an Izuki, do you enjoy the show? I think we have an entertainment problem in Web3. And I think it's painfully noticeable at this point because there's so many realms of collections that went and specifically said, we're going to go do a game or something before creating any sort of entertainment value. And if you can fix that, I think you can fix a lot. Buffalo, I don't know, man, just went to an IRL Gala film premiere. That was pretty fun and some real utility. Okay, see, this is good. I don't see that sort of thing on the timeline. I don't know anything about it, right? So I look like an absolute fish. If you're having the time of your life, you got to tell me that I'm being a futter. That's good. That's good. But for the Gala film premiere, can you give me some like insight of like how it happened, what went down, et cetera, et cetera? And so this is actually another thing. Thank you for bringing this up and, trying to self-reflect in the moment and this is actually the final tweet we're going to leave you with, but we'll go into it right now, is this space gets too much joy shitting on those actually trying to do things in a space that is still trying to find its footing. Root for teams that have committed to building for the long term. We will win together or we die trying. Okay, so that was the way that I was going to try to end things on like a positive note, but this is also a good realization, is I am looking at that being like, okay, they had these things when I very much paid attention to Gala that they were doing that I didn't find that entertaining. So in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, a lot of this stuff is just kind of that they're coming up with. And I just assume that's still the case. So we make a little bit of assumptions about things, but there's also the problem of everybody being across everything. And so we look at something and just say, this is that, when that's not actually the case. So the point of the post right here that I'm bringing up is that I started watching One Piece. And this is a TV show that's been out for like a really long time. I didn't realize, like 1999 type of deal. And I'm just like, damn, you know what? This is actually kind of a cool show. I love the art style. Man, it would be cool to get like my ape in that art style of what One Piece is. Now I'm trying to look at the trading card games, and it feels kind of like the NFL thing again, where I was watching the draft, okay, where can I go? Do I buy some merch? Do I get a hat? Like, how do I look at this? And I can like enjoy the content because I appreciate something about it that's more than just the speculative side. When you remove the speculative side, how much is left in the things that you enjoy within Web3? And also, if anybody knows anything about One Piece collections, let me know. Trading card game wise, I'm looking into it. Was at the local film festival where I live, where they premiered their latest film, free tickets and post party. Yo, hell yeah. Did they do anything for people that are online? That's one thing. If I was going to like critique anything about Web3, is it feels like there's in-person events, but then there's like nothing to do for people that are there online that just like simply couldn't make it. And I don't know if like putting up a webcam off to the side of the party does justice. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey guys, like if you want, if you want to experience it, we can give you something for it. But maybe there's a production, maybe there's a way to like stream it. Like I'm trying to think of like, how could we do this, right? Like if Gala Films on set there, is there a way that we have somebody that's live at that event that's covering it? And then there's side interviews or production pieces that are put together so people can kind of experience something at home. But to close up the moral of the story here is, I think once entertainment comes back, speculation dies a little bit. There is a huge opportunity for all of this stuff. It just feels there's lots getting lost within the sauce, and there's a massive amount of people giving up too. I saw something today where there was like a really big collection that got endorsed by another very big collection, and we haven't heard anything. They decided they were going to drop NFTs. They did a token sale, and then they're like, hey guys, yeah, like my faith in the industry has kind of been shaken. So, like, we'll see, but we still have a plan in place. So I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So if you're having, like, problems trusting the industry at all, why the hell do you go through dropping an NFT, doing all this stuff in 2025? This is the thing. It's like, you have to be genuinely crazy in 2025 to do something here. Because, well, first of all, you're like, all right, this is going to be the future. Yes, there's going to be AI that's going to contradict and all this kind of stuff. But the opportunities here are abundant. And then we have people that are like, there's, problems within it. Well, it's nascent. There's a whole bunch of bad actors in this. Absolutely. But I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. Here is Epic's new strategy for giving customers choice over how to pay for things and passing on savings when they use our cost-effective direct payment system. Competition is a wonderful thing. So Tim Sweeney's been a huge rock in the side of Apple, trying to get rid of their 30% tax and seemingly open to the whole metaverse idea and cross-collaboration, et cetera, et cetera. So just giving this a shout, Epic Rewards just got more epic. You'll now get 20% back in Epic Rewards when you make a purchase in Fortnite and Epic's other games on PC, iOS, Android, and the web using Epic's payment system. These 20% rewards in Epic's games are here to stay. We're also boosting Epic Rewards from 5 to 20% for purchases in other games using Epic's payment system through August 31st. So we got extra points. When the hell is like MetaMask, Rainbow, Robbie, all these wallets going to give an extra bit of a kickback for purchases? What are we doing? Unbelievable. We don't really have that much here in crypto. VFriends, we got some new videos. Hey, listen to it. Oh, look, VFriends is trying to create something that's entertainment for you that isn't just about speculation. So then you buy if you really like the show, as an example. Take a look.
They have no idea what's coming, my friend. They think it's all just a game. A bunch of toys, lifeless trinkets. Ha! Little do they know, it's so much more than that. The stories will be told. The best kept secrets are about to break free.
A whole new world is about to open, and people are gonna know. The Alpha Age is coming to an end.
Okay. Yo, Chico Flores, what's going on? And Simtoshi, yo, thank you for the follow. So, let's have a little bit of a digression here. And if anybody's joining late, well, thank you for coming through. So, the moral of today's stream has really been about the fact that within Web3, we have a lot around speculation, and the fact of just simply entertaining people feels like it's not really been fulfilled. So we look at that show, and we have something that's coming. But when you look at the trying to get to the black cat here, right? So this is something that Gary Vee has tried to put like a focus on for that specific character. So if you went to the VCons, they, you know, had the black cat up. If you're going to look at the trading card games, that card is one of the more rare, valuable, desired, whatever terminology you want to use. But then I think of the collection Digimon, right? If you're familiar with Pokemon, Digimon was another one that came out at the same time. And I don't know, the first season, whatever, was like 20 or 30 episodes. And each episode had a character, right? Like the Black Cat, right? Let's use this as an example. And so Angemon, right? Which was like this angel Digimon. And that episode just had like that character within it. And then boom, you're done. Right? And the next one, whatever, Mon. Okay? And so when you look at these NFTs, there's a lot of different ones where the Black Cats, there's several variations of this. You could buy just the NFTs, right? And so if you enjoy the show, right? And you're like, you know what? I love the episode with the Black Cat within it. All right, there. You have something that you have nostalgia, excitement, whatever. It's there for you, right? But you didn't have that. You didn't have that at all until arguably like 8:11 p.m. last night when this trailer dropped. Apart from going to these events and having this imagery on the wall and trying to have some association with it. So I think there's a huge amount of room for these characters and whatnot across all these different ecosystems to be built up. But then today, when I'm watching One Piece and I'm like, okay, there's a couple characters, like if they had NFTs, would I go and spend a fortune trying to get specific one-of-one art styles of certain characters? I'm like, maybe it's a little bit too soon for me to enjoy that. But I mean, for NFL on those moments, sure, there's a little bit of a speculative side, but you know exactly what it is. And the most people that are buying those moments, they're like, I like it because it's entertainment, or I follow this, or I can show my passion. And it feels like just the IP around Web3 has done a horrific job of highlighting it. So I'm optimistic. Listen, I a little bit negative here and there. I understand. But I think the entertainment value, whether it's the games, the shows, if they end up going all the way to movies, there's just not that much of it. And when you go through the list, like Stoner Cats, I think is the only thing in Web3 that has had like a full-length TV show. And they got friggin' sued by the US government. So we'll see if 2025 is different. I hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your weekend. That's going to be it for this edition of X-Feed. Blue, Tito's, Buffalo, Simtoshi, Chico Flores, the UFC fighter. That's what it kind of sounds like. Holy smokes. Appreciate you guys coming through. Have a phenomenal weekend. I'll see you on Monday. And again, if you do want to have a little bit more from the Schiller here, we do the RWA Segments podcast, which is talking more about real world assets. So people that are bringing on physical cards onto the blockchain, tokenizing real estate, tokenizing cars, tokenizing everything within the world. And next week's episode is absolutely insane with Travis John, who's from RWA Builders. We'll let you know again about that on when it drops on Tuesday. But have a good weekend. As per usual, we'll talk soon. Peace.